Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. It feels good to be back, and I can't believe I'm even uttering these words, but I, Harish, will be breaking down the latest teaser for Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four First Steps. Official footage is finally out, and there's no time like the present to hop back on here and break it all down. Just before we start, I just want to say wishing you all a happy belated new year. Let's get into it and let's break this trailer down. Firstly, the trailer begins with elevator doors opening to reveal the inside of the Baxter building as Reed Richards and Sue Storm welcome a reporter inside their living space, going over their daily routine. One interesting thing to note is that we kick off this trailer with a 4:3 aspect ratio, evoking the sense of watching classic television, as well as a retro kind of vibe/motif ever so present throughout most of this trailer. We also see this view of New York City from the Baxter building, which doesn't look like how New York normally does in the MCU. While there are still the same buildings and structures, there are also new kinds of buildings and structures as well that look distinct from the normal buildings. It's been confirmed by director Matt Shakman, who also did WandaVision, that this version of the Fantastic Four will reside in a retro-futuristic 60s era New York City, seemingly separate from the main 616 MCU Earth. Director Matt Shakman also sourced artist Sid Mead as an inspiration for the retro-futuristic aesthetic for this film. We then see the aspect ratio of the screen expand to a traditional widescreen aspect ratio to reveal the Marvel Studios logo. We then get an exterior shot of the Baxter building, which can be identified by the huge 4 sign on the building. The Baxter building is home to the Fantastic Four. In this film, it's depicted a lot more sleeker, whereas in the comics, it's a very massive building. We then get our first look at Herbie. We got a sneak peek of the robot from the first look reveal poster for the cast of the film. The origins of the character are as follows from Marvel.com. Humanoid experimental robot, B-type integrated electronics, or Herbie, is an analog computer with artificial intelligence who assists the Fantastic Four while they go on adventures, warns them of impending danger, and babysits their children when needed. Herbie is built by Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, and Master Zar of the extraterrestrial Xandarians, using Xandarian technology to create the robot so that it could aid Mr. Fantastic in his quest to find Galactus. We then get our first fully fledged look at the Thing/Ben Grimm, played by Ebon-Moss Bachrach, and I gotta say, I was jumping at my seat when the Thing appeared in the trailer in a nonchalant manner. The CGI for this character is seriously impressive, and the VFX artists who are working on this character definitely deserve a raise. He looks like he came out of the comic book pages and onto the screen. The fact that the CGI for the character looks this good so early prior to the release of this film is seriously promising. I love the attention to detail on the various crack/rock formations on the character to make the features of the character easily identifiable. With the prior to live action Thing adaptations, where one leans into the practical effects with Tim Story Fantastic Four films from the early 2000s, and with Fan Four Sticks Thing looking kind of meh with all its CG, Fantastic Four First Steps seems to be using both methods in bringing the character of Thing to life. During the filming for Fantastic Four First Steps, people were able to spot crew members putting on a face mask for a practical Thing model, and it looks really great. Not only does it seem that they're using a practical model of the character as a reference, but they are also utilizing CGI to bring Evan's portrayal of the character to life. What's also interesting is that Ben Grimm appears to be mostly clothed for the majority of the trailer. The character in the comics is typically depicted similar to that of the Hulk, where he has nothing on other than shorts. But I think him having clothes adds an additional layer to the character of the Thing and helps humanize his character. We then get this shot of Pedro Pascal, Reed Richards, in front of a chalkboard which has this mechanism that winds up, and we see right after this shot that he's writing on this chalkboard as well. And you see that on this chalkboard there's all kinds of information, equations, formulas, and all kinds of science stuff. In the background of this shot you can also see that there are spacesuits. This is probably the same spacesuits that the Fantastic Four wore on their expedition into space and when they obtained their powers, which are shown bits of in the trailer. People have also spotted a drawing on the board which could indicate some kind of multiversal travel. This is the multiverse saga after all, and the Fantastic Four are expected to be in the next 2 Avengers installments. We then cut back the 4:3 aspect ratio, showing us snippets of the Fantastic Four in their spacesuits, evoking this feeling of archive footage, but also giving off this documentary kind of feeling. We then get this shot of a rocket taking off. The design of this rocket looks retro with a sleek and futuristic look to it. Reed Richards then tells Susan Storm, "Before we went up for the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. We see this brief shot of Reed holding Sue as her invisibility powers seem to start kicking in. We then get a shot of the Thing roaming the streets as he stops to see a TV from inside this store, playing old footage of him and Reed Richards, with further voiceover from Reed Richards saying Ben wasn't a rock, which is then followed by this bittersweet shot of Ben watching himself on the TV. The lights fade away, revealing Ben's new permanent version of himself that he's now become. I think this little snippet is beautiful in giving you a sense of the character. Earlier in the trailer, when Thing is first shown to us, he seems to be very upbeat and jovial, but from this shot, we also seeing that he's someone who's still clearly hurting from the fact that the accident that gave the Fantastic Four their powers permanently kind of scarred him for life and physically changed him to the point of no return, making him a rock-like monster who wishes to return to his normal self. We then get our first look of Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, the younger brother to Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman, with further continuation of Reed's dialogue saying, "And Johnny never caught fire." We then see Johnny flame on as he leaps and turns into his Human Torch form. A really noticeable detail that people have spotted is that when Johnny flames on and all the fire from behind hits the camera, because of the fire being so bright, that you can actually see the detail of the kind of dirt and the smudges of the camera when Johnny flames on. So it's a really cool little detail. We then get Sue Storm telling Reed that Ben has always been a rock, as we see both Sue and Ben having a personal and intimate moment with each other. Furthermore, she says Johnny is Johnny, as we see a shot of Sue catching Johnny Storm goofing off. We then see a shot of Johnny Storm flying up into Earth's atmosphere, followed by a shot of Invisible Woman's powers on display, as we can see the light refracting when she utilizes her abilities. Sue Storm's abilities are that of invisibility, as well as being able to create force fields via her bending light waves in order to do so. In the shot of Susan Storm using her abilities, it appears to be in some kind of battle, because as we can see from the environment around her that there's all sorts of rubble and destruction, that you can see that further in the background that the Fantastic car is parked around this scene as well. Sue tells Reed, "And I am right here," as the two of them share a kiss. We get further dialogue of Susan Storm saying, "Whatever life throws at us, we face it together." We then see Johnny Storm up in space floating, which is followed by a shot of the F4 seeing what appears to be meteors crashing from the sky. We then see kids dressed up as the Thing, followed by a brief shot of the Fantastic car riding through the streets. In addition, we see a shot of Human Torch flying through the daytime. We then see the Thing charging through the streets. You can hear his heavy footsteps stomping on the road, followed by a shot of John Malkovich, who's one of the other many cast members to join this film. People speculate from his look that he could be playing the character of the Red Ghost, who is a Russian villain and who has ties to the Fantastic Four. I don't know much about this character other than the fact that he has superpowered apes alongside him. Never heard of this character before, but seeing them get a big name actor like this, a part of their universe, playing this character is going to be pretty interesting. Paul Walter Hauser is also said to be a part of this film. His role has yet been officially confirmed, but people are speculating that he's playing Mole Man, another villain to the Fantastic Four, another addition to the cast being that of Natasha Lyonne. People are speculating that she's going to be playing the love interest to Ben, aka the Thing, which is that of Alicia Masters. We then get this brief shot of Reed Richards inside the spaceship. We then get the shot of New York City with the dark silhouette towering over, which is none other than Galactus, as we can see in the shot right after of his helmet. And we can also see that he's next to the Statue of Liberty. Galactus will be voiced by Ralph Ineson. And not only that, his herald, which is that of the Silver Surfer, will be showing up as well, being played by actress Julia Garner, who is playing the Shall-Bal version of the Silver Surfer from Marvel Comics, specifically from the Marvel Earth X comic book series. She's not playing the traditional male Silver Surfer, which is out of Norrin Radd, although in the comic books, Shall-Bal is the love interest to Norrin Radd. That's not to say a traditional male Silver Surfer isn't going to be happening, but for this adaptation, they're going to take a different approach. Hopefully, post Multiverse Saga, we do get a traditional male Silver Surfer. Sue says the final line of the trailer, which is, "Whatever life throws at us, we face it together as a family," as we get a shot of the Fantastic Four in their costumes, evoking the John Byrne run of Fantastic Four, with the group sporting white and blue as opposed to their traditional black and blue looks. These suits also have white turtlenecks. However, in this shot, Mr. Fantastic doesn't have a white turtleneck, whereas the other members do, although it's just a little bit of a nitpick. One thing I do do appreciate is that each member's costume is unique and specific to their character. The music throughout the trailer is done by famous composer Michael Giacchino as the music crescendos, with the choir giving us the title. Overall, I think this teaser is nothing but fantastic, pun intended. This film feels like Marvel going back to the Captain America First Avenger roots, where it's a superhero story that takes place in a particular time period to give itself a unique look and feel. But in the case of this film, it doesn't feel like they are taking this approach for the sake of it. We are in the multiverse saga, where there is a realm of infinite possibilities and outcomes where things can end up different to what we are used to. This is the kind of stuff Marvel Studios should have been doing when it comes to the concept of the multiverse, which is that of exploring and fleshing out these possibilities and universes than being a cameo machine. That's what I like about the newest Marvel animated series, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which was initially going to act as a prequel series for Tom Holland's Spider-Man before his inclusion in Captain America Civil War, but that since has changed, but it has changed for the better. It's taking an already existing character and mythos, which is that of Spider-Man, and exploring new ideas and possibilities than what we are used to. I don't want to give any spoilers on how they explored these different narratives and storylines and the different kinds of characters they have. I do highly recommend giving Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man a watch, as it's a really great show so far. As of this recording, 5 episodes are out, with the show airing the next 5 episodes over the next 2 weeks. Circling back to the Fantastic Four of it all though, this is Marvel's first family, and I think everyone working on this film, and Marvel Studios especially, knows this and realizes that this is one of their biggest cornerstone characters of the Marvel brand. Marvel Rivals' most recent season of DLC is centered around the Fantastic Four being playable characters, and with the release of this latest teaser trailer, it has, in my opinion, skyrocketed the excitement and anticipation from fans across the board. Most live action adaptations of the Fantastic Four haven't quite hit the mark. This film feels like it's paying homage to these characters by bringing these characters back to their roots, such as the setting being in a retro-futuristic 60s reality, as the Fantastic Four made their debut around that time in Marvel Comics. I'm really excited to be immersed in this alternate Earth, but it may be short-lived. Why I believe this to be the case is that because of the comic book storyline, which Marvel themselves have confirmed to be one of the source materials that inspired this film, which is that of Fantastic Four life story. The life story Marvel Comics are a series of comics where each issue takes place in a different decade, where we see the titular character or characters age according to the decade. For example, Spider-Man had a life story series of comics as well as the Fantastic Four. A lot of the elements from this particular comic book of Fantastic Four Life Story Issue 1 seem to be a heavy influence for this film. The first issue of the comic is set within the 1960s and explores the traditional origin story of the Fantastic Four, their celebratory status, which we see bits of in this trailer. But one particular element of the comic is when the group got hit by their cosmic waves, which gifted them their powers. Reed Richards, for a brief moment, sees a vision of Galactus consuming the universe, which haunts him. Furthermore, to poke the belly of the beast, a machine is created to replicate the circumstances that gave the team their powers, but also to see if Galactus is truly real. When Reed and Ben, due to circumstances, enter this machine, they are horrified as they see Galactus in all his glory, and in doing so, he's aware of their existence and is coming to Earth. Considering Galactus is the villain of this film, maybe we are seeing a similar story where Reed Richards is doing everything in his path to try and be able to combat Galactus before he consumes this Earth, but maybe the team fails to do so, and in turn, this may be the catalyst for how the Fantastic Four comes into the main 616 universe for the next 2 Avengers films. As we see on the chalkboard from earlier in the trailer, there seems to be this drawing depicting some sort of interstellar travel. Another thing to note in the comic is that it ends with the introduction of Reed and Sue's son, Franklin Richards. In more recent years, Reed Richards and Sue Storm have 2 kids, which are that of Franklin and Valeria Richards, and in particular, Franklin Richards is not only a mutant, but a powerful cosmic being. In 2015's Secret War storyline, when God Emperor Doom was defeated, Franklin Richards used his cosmic power to create whole universes. So potentially in this film, we may be getting 1 or 2 new family members in the Fantastic Four, which are that of Franklin and Valeria Richards. Perhaps this is likely considering the fact that the family does play a part in that 2015 Secret Wars storyline. That wraps up this breakdown of the Fantastic Four First Steps teaser trailer. What did you guys think about it? Sound off your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to be immediately notified when videos go live on the channel. Good to be back. Hopefully I can be able to do more, and see you all on the next one. Take care. Love you all.